So it's that time, it's tutorial time. I know I sound really excited only because I want to get this off my chest and really build a nice tutorial computer with you, which is going to be a custom CPU water cooling one. And if you don't really understand what this video is about, go to this one here where the card will be, and I hope my finger's pointing in the right direction. And that is where you'll find all the information and all the parts that we're going to be using in this build. So what we're going to do, we're just going to get on with it, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit. And basically, say it's we're going to be connecting 8 connectors up for water cooling. I'll only show you one, how to connect it, and then you basically follow the rest for the procedure to carry on and doing the same thing. And if I'm screwing down the motherboard, I'm only going to show you that I'm screwing it down once, and then you have to kind of figure out where the screws are. But I'll kind of indicate where they are. So if you're new to water cooling, please don't be scared. This will be fine. Well, you'll be fine. Anyway, let's get on with the build. So first off, you want to start off with the motherboard first, and just make sure that you've got everything in there. So motherboard, and all like your connectors, like your SATA connectors, which will look like that. And it depends on what motherboard you bought, or if you followed this, then you would have exactly the same as what I've got. So you'll have these SATA cables in there, so you can connect up solid state drives, DVD, CD rewriters if you really want to, mechanical hard drives if you really want to. And if you get in trouble where you want to like connect stuff up and you can't remember what cable is what, you got stickers there in the box, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, it comes with more SATA cables, and then you've got if you're using 2 graphics cards, it comes with a bandwidth board, so for SLI, because this is SLI compatible, that's why it's in the box. And then you've got this cable here, and this is for your RGB, well, white RGB. And that's the connector there as well, so it can do white and RGB as well, so red, blue and green as being prime colours. Also comes with some Velcro to strap down them cables, and your manual and a CD and a connector for people who are just straightforward and can't connect it up to the motherboard or can't see it properly. This will help you to do it out the box properly, but I'm going to be connecting it straight to the motherboard. And then you've got all your instructions and stuff like that, more at E, and then obviously you need that. So we're going to put all this relevant stuff back in here, because that's what I'm here for, and we'll come back to all that stuff later. But what we're going to do is we're going to place the motherboard on top of the box. Just be careful to take it out the box. Drop that down there. And you're going to need your CPU as well. So this is a static bag, so this will take off all the electricity, all the static electricity off of me before I do things. And then just going to place it on the board. You do that as well. And then we're going to get the CPU out, so we're going to push this to the side. And then we've got the CPU out. Make sure you don't get your fingers all over the top, as our fingers carry a lot of grease and other stuff we don't want. So the processor has got the Ryzen name on here, and basically you flip the lever up, and then you've got to be careful not to bend the pins, and then you just rest it in there very carefully. Once, because you've got an arrow at the bottom left hand corner of where it's with the R of Ryzen, and then you've got to match it up where it goes in, and it will just slot in. It won't, if it's not the right way to go in, then it's not going to go in. So just make sure that it just falls in, and you just close it, the latch down, and it's simple as that. Now I'm going to take these screws off because we're water cooling. So now I've got the brackets off. These brackets are for normal CPU air coolers to go on there, and on this motherboard I've got a back plate on there already, which comes with the motherboard itself. And I'm not going to need another back plate or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some thermal grease down, and you only need a P, small P version. That's all you need. And then you want to get the water block, which is EK's water block, and it's all together already. And just make sure that the surface is clean and everything like that. I've obviously changed it from the nickel one and gone with the copper because I want a great good bit of contact with it. So I'm gonna, and then have the EK facing the same way as you would in a case, the orientation. So now I'm just going to place the CPU on top, the CPU water block I should say. And what it is on this water block, you've got little hinges so you can match it up against the actual screw holes, and that's what I'm doing right now. And this is the most simplest CPU water block ever. So all you need to do is just make sure that CPU water block is hand tightened, and just check around the actual CPU water block to make sure the screws are down and it's got firm contact to the CPU underneath. Next is we're going to be using the memory, and we're going to be using 16 gigs, but I've got 32 gig modules here. So just to show you a fully populated motherboard, that's the way I'm going to do it. So you just got to basically match up the notches. So this is not right, but this is right, and then clip them down, and they'll both flap to the sides and clip in, and then it's put a little bit of pressure on the top to make sure it's in, and then simple as that. And then do the same for all of them. So now all the RAM slots are allocated and slotted in nicely. We're going to be putting in the compression fittings now. So I'm going to put 2 on the water block here. And basically these come off in 2 parts. So this is the barb, and then the tubing sits over the top with the outer diameter, and this compression fitting goes over the tubing, which will be my finger, and then you put the tubing over the barb, and then you screw it on to make a compression fitting. But what we're going to do first is we're going to screw this onto the outlet, and then we're going to put one onto the inlet. So if you've got like something, you can use a spanner and gently adjust it to the lightest way that you can, just so you can get a nice little firm grip for any leakages. But any more tightness, you could crack the acrylic. So you don't really want to do that, but hand tightening is good, but sometimes it's not good enough. But at the moment I'm just showing you, I'm going to do it by hand, and that's as much as what you should really need. Then I'm going to put the tops on so I don't lose them for later. So now we're going to get rid of the motherboard. We're going to unscrew the panels so we can have free reign of doing stuff. Must admit though, I like what Be Quiet's done with the captive screws. They've made it flat so it's nice and it sits flush to the actual door panel. Love it, I think it's great. And in the case you should find all your accessories, which are, there should be cable ties and screws for the motherboard, all inside the box. So you'll have all the screws that you need. SSD screws, cable management, tyres, screws for the SSDs, I think I said that, mechanical SSDs, screws for inside there for the graphics card. It's all there. I'm going to take off the glass panel because we don't need that right now. Just be careful not to scratch it or smudge it. I suppose it doesn't really matter because you're going to have to clean it. I'm just going to get the cables and I'm going to push them through the grommet hole, or the pass through. So on the back you take the cable ties off, which are these wired ones which you don't really want anymore. Chuck them to the side. You could use them to hold the cables down before you put the nice cable management Velcro ties on. We are going to be taking out the drive, so I'm just going to take this out. So now you've got plenty of space to add things, and this is where your SSD is going to go, but I'm only putting one SSD in. But next is to lay the case flat on its back so we can put the motherboard in. I'm going to be putting the motherboard inside the case. And I'm just getting rid of excess plastic on there. It's a really nice motherboard. Make sure that you've got all your standoffs on there. Don't use unnecessary standoffs because you can have a electronic static charge. You don't want to do that. Actually, before I put the motherboard in, you have to put in your backplate, which is a bit of a rookie mistake right there. Right, so I'm going to put this in now. Where it's got the mouse and keyboard, put it in that way up. So my bottom feet of the case is at the bottom towards me, and this is the top. So you want to put this at the top. I'm going to find out where the holes are to match them up for the back of the IO shield back here at the back. I've got a prawn that sticks up and holds the motherboard kind of in place to give me a situation where I need to put all my screws in. So on this motherboard I have 9 hole screws, so 3 being here, 2 here, and 3 being at the top and 1 over there into the plastic IO shield. And you just got to see where you've got the prawn sticking through the motherboard and it stops it from going anywhere. I am going to start here and screw down. You just need to follow what I'm doing. Screw one here, screw one there, screw one there, and then screw one there, screw one there, screw one there, and then work yourself into the middle. And that's how you get like your motherboard from not warping and stuff like that. So now I'm going to take off the top, so you can kind of have a little bit more eyesight for the EPS connector. So I've just got to undo these tabs and you just push forward slightly. And I'm going to be also taking off this front as well. And then I'm going to take off the front as well, which should be just a pull from the front. And then it pops open. I'm going to take off the front, where you would have your normal CD, DVD drive, and I'm taking that off so we can have more room for water cooling because it's not going to fit otherwise. And let's see if this comes out. Right hand side of the case, and then just keep them screws for other stuff. I've got a 140mm fan on here that comes pre-installed into the case, but I'm going to be actually taking it out because I'm going to be using a 120 and that is going to be going on my Radiator. But if you've got a 140 on Radiator, you can use that and a 140 rad as well. So I've got the fans here, which is the 120 Be Quiet PWM fans, and I'm going to be using these clips because I'm attaching a radiator to it. So all I need to do is find a little slot so I can slide it on and clip, and it's on. And these are anti-vibration as well, so and no vibration, no sound, and everything sounds sweet. So now I'm going to take off the back 120mm fan. This one is Pure Wings 2 and this is a DC fan, but I actually want to put a PWM fan in so I can have total control. So on your fan you want to get the maximum length at the top, which will be here. So position your fan over to the closest part of the motherboard. And now I'm going to screw it to the back of the case. So now I'm just going to screw onto the back of the fan and just make sure that you've got the fan so it's actually exhausting heat from inside the case outwards. So I'm not going to be using what Be Quiet's given us as for screws. I'm going to be actually using the screws that I got from Mayhems, because this is especially the right size to actually put your screws, your fans against the radiator. And I'm having the radiator inside the case and I'm going to have it here, and then I'm going to have the fans here. Top of the radiator where the compression holes are, I've got it facing up that way because that's how we're going to orientate the actual custom CPU water cooling. We're not having it at the bottom, we're going to have it at the top. So I'm going to turn it around like this. The radiator is going to be inside and I'm going to have the fans as an intake. Now, when you've got the fans and you found out where you want to place them, because I'm going to place them right here, you need to have the cable feed through the hole, the pass through, and it just makes cable management a lot cleaner and tidier. And that's what you're going to be doing for these other two fans. So this one, and then another one's going to be here or down here. Well, then all we're going to do is use Mayhems screws that come perfectly fitted for the radiator and fans. Now for the next fan, you could have it orientated to the bottom or to the side for the middle. So now we're just going to put the power supply at the bottom, and then we're going to get the EPS connector to the top and a 24 pin as well, so we can get everything where it needs to be. And we're going to also have the power supply facing downwards, so you've got this orientation here. And also, if not, you can have it like that, but we want it like this. I clearly do love these new power supply thumb screws. They're really quite cool. They're like got a washer on the side there, or on the actual over the thread, and you can nicely flatten it and have a nice contact to the back of the power supply. So now I'm going to turn the case around, and I'm going to screw the back in with these thumb screws, and they just easily screw on to the back. Right, so I've got all the cables that I need. I hopefully have anyway. So I've got one for the EPS, obviously the 24 pins right there, and then we've got a 6 pin and an 8 pin for my graphics card that I'm using, and I'm also got a Molex connector in case that I'm going to be connecting up a Molex, which I will be for the pump, and there should be a SATA connector as well. So first off, I'm going to take the 24 pin off to save this Velcro for later. Now you could try and do a little pass through here if you've got room, and if you have, it makes cable management look so much tidier. So that's going to be fed through here, and then I'm going to get the EPS connector, and then I'm going to connect that up. That goes, I'm going to feed that through the same grommet hole. And then feed it through the top up here, so it's nicely hidden out the way for nice cable management. And plug it in. And also at the top of this case, it has got a little clip that can hold down your fan cable, which I'm going to just connect that up now underneath. And it's simple as that. It makes it look really nice and tidy. So now I'm just going to do all the other cables and put them in. So now I'm going to just pass through the 24 pin. So on the reservoir, underneath you've got some plugs that come with the actual EK water block. So you've got an inlet and outlet, depends, like this will be the inlet and this will be the outlet, or the outlet and the inlet. And you've also got a top as well, so you can fill the reservoir, so it comes with a plug. So we're just going to be blocking up the bottom there. We're using this as an inlet and this as an outlet, and that one as your fill port. So hopefully you've got a 2p or some sort of coin to actually put on there. I'm going to just take the compression fitting apart so I can get a good contact with the threading. And we're going to be putting the reservoir around here, and you just make sure that the top's screwed on nice and tight, and also that is screwed on, and then just give it a little polish up afterwards. So I'm going to put the bracket on the back here because I'm using SSDs. Well, I'm only using one SSD, but you've got two spaces for an SSD at the bottom, and you could also drill one down here if you really wanted to. But this is the EK bracket. It comes with the washer, the nut, and obviously the screw, and you need an Allen key as well, which doesn't come in the box, so you can tighten it up and loosen it for the actual reservoir itself. So all I'm going to do is feed that into there and put the washer over the top of the back, and then I'm going to push it in a little bit more, and then I'm going to place it to the back of here, to that hole, and then screw on the washer. Then we're going to place the reservoir in there. So now your water cooling PC should be taking shape now, But when you've got everything all done and you don't need to take it out, then you can use the Allen key and screw that so it's much tighter down, because there's going to be a little bit of friction or a little bit of pull when you're using the tubing. So first off, indicate which is going to be your inlet and outlet. So this is going to be the outlet. This is where the coolant's going to be pressured and pushed through to go around the loop system. If you put it through the wrong hole, it will actually not do anything, and then you'll have to drain the whole system, and you don't want to do that. So I've blocked the top bit here, and I'm going to have compression fitting on the top here. And I'm going to have a compression fitting here. So all the coolant from the reservoir is going to be feeding into the top, going into the pump, and then out around the loop. Right, as I did before, I put the compression fittings on so I don't lose them, and I'm going to feed this in the bottom corner. And normally I would sleeve these horrible cables, but just to show you how to do it and build this computer, there you go. You can do this afterwards, actually, saying that, because flexible tubing, not hard tubing. I suppose you could get away with hard tubing. So I'm trying to get the Molex connector into this little corner, pass through, and he's done it. He's done it. So the reason it's going to be here at an angle is because I haven't got any right angle fittings, and it's cheaper to do it like this, but it gives it a little bit more flair. So it's going to be an angle like that, and the reservoir is going to be an angle like that. It gives it more room as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the graphics card in next, which is here. But before I can do that, I need to take out the I/O brackets at the back there. So I'm going to measure up where it is. So I've just got to take out these bottom two here, and that is really damn tight. So I'm going to unscrew this. God, that is definitely not thumb tight. Yes, there's no back plate on here. I could make a back plate. I could do this, I could do that, but I haven't got around to it yet. So I could put the graphics card in first, and it shows where everything is, and you can see kind of what you would be doing. The pump would be from here, straight into the inlet of the CPU water block there, out of the outlet, straight into the radiator, out the radiator into the reservoir, and feeding the reservoir coolant into the pump. So now I'm just going to put my compression fittings here, take the graphics card out, and put the SATA connectors and USB and the headers from the front of the case into the front now. I forgot all about this. This is an Akasa Pro Slim SATA cable, up to 6 gigabits per second, and it is a 50cm cable, and it is flat as anything. And this is going in there as well. Look how thin that is, and it holds that data, so it makes it look nice and clean. And what I like about it as well, it's two flat ends rather than having a 90-degree angle ones, which 90-degree ones would be alright, but not in all cases. So I'm going to plug this into here, and then I should be able to slide that underneath through here. And if I can't, then I can't really, then I'll have to just do it the normal way. But yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do. So all underneath here is where you put in the power and the reset and the hard disk light and stuff like that in the front, and the USB 3 there. I was able to use Akasa's SATA cable and connect it underneath the motherboard. It's so thin, so perfect, love it. And then yeah, now I'm going to start to put the cables in for the graphics card, which are here in my hands. And then I'm just going to find a decent hole. Well, I can't find a decent hole. Looks like I'm going to have to feed it from the bottom, which is never really nice. But if you've got nice cables, oh my god, did that really just happen? Oh! I'll put that in afterwards. So I'm just going to connect the VGA graphics card up. And if you've got nice custom cables for yours, it's excellent. I would definitely recommend. Anyway, just make sure the graphics card's in properly, and then screw in the thumb screws, or try and do them with your fingers or your thumb. Okay, we got this far now. So we've got the pump, which should go in on the CPU pump connector for header, and you don't really want that to go on there, so you need an extension. And normally with certain fan brands, you get an extra extended cable that's braided, and you plug that into the board. But yeah, here's one I made earlier. I didn't really, but anyway. So this is a 4-pin, and it's black and everything like that, and that one's weird colour, blue and green to be honest with you, to be precise. So now I'm just going to plug that in there. Now I've got my little extension lead, and I can plug that into the board, which I'm going to find where the CPU is, and then that's nicely tucked out the way. And then you've got your cables here, which is a fan controller. So these are my cables for the CPU radiator. So this is what your build should actually look like right now. And if it looks like this, then it's not too bad. And if it don't, then you just need a little bit more work. Anyway, this is not like the sort of best. And you're going to have to go in there and change cables around, but I'm just showing you how to put things together, and it's all built and it looks nice. And you'll definitely be able to overclock on this system as well, and play games at high frame rates. And you can also definitely use it as a work computer and stuff like that. The aesthetics of it looks really nice. It looks really nice computer. It's nice. I like it. So I'm going to put the tube in all together and show you how to plumb it all together. And then you'll need scissors or an XSPC cutter, which I'm going to use this. So I've got clear tube in so we can see what it looks like inside. So first off, I'm going to, this is what you're going to need to do as well. Make sure all of these are nice and tight before you do anything, but I am going to start plumbing things up. So this is where the water is going to be pushing through. I'm going to have it to go into there. So get my little compression fitting, stick it over the top. And normally in the box as well, on your case, when you want to do your tubing, you've got brackets as well that you can drill to the bottom of the case and have it fitted in. But I would do this first, so you know where you're going, or coming or going, and it's simple as that. So I need that much tubing, without it bending funny. So I'm going to just cut it off enough that I need. Once you kind of worked out where you're going to put your pump, obviously gone for this nice little right angle, and obviously the tubing's a bit flex, but it's not bent where it's going to stop it and get any blockages. So make sure your cables are nicely tucked into the back, which I'm going to do, so it gives it a bit more room. And if you're going to drill it into the case, I would check out, put all the tubing in first and then drill it into the case afterwards. But that's where I'm going to have it like that. Now I'm going to connect the outlet into the radiator. So I'm just going to work out how long I need for that. So you just make sure you put this over the barb. Need the compression fitting like that. So I'm going to need, without it bending and flexing, that much. So now I'm going to add the tube into here to the reservoir where all the warm water comes out the radiator and into the reservoir, into the inlet of the reservoir, and outlet to come in, which is cool coolant, which feeds the pump, and then the pump feeds the CPU, and then back out the CPU where it's warm into the radiator where all the radiator's warm water goes through, and then back into radiator out. So let's get this in there, and we're nearly kind of finished now. So this is how much tubing I'm going to need, probably about that much, where it doesn't have any kinks in it. That looks perfect. So now I'm just going to put this over the barb again, and then over the compression fitting. Then the last tubing is going to go into the top there. So all I'm doing now is I'm getting some blue roll or any sort of tissue sort of paper that could soak up any unwanted spills in the system. And you need to do this because after we've put the coolant in, we've got to cycle it all the way around and stuff. We've got to make sure that everything's all nice and tight with the compression fittings. And once that we've accomplished this with 24-hour of leak testing, then you can remove all the tissue paper away. So now I've got Mayhems pastel coolant here. This is pastel white and it comes in this bottle, and it comes with the guidelines of what you can do with the safety and how to dispose of it and what you should be able to use it with and what you shouldn't be able to use it with. And I've also got Mayhems Orange Dye here as well. And what we're going to do, we're going to add the white dye, white pastel coolant into here with a little funnel, and then we're going to put it into the reservoir, and then we're going to add the drops in just at the top, and we're going to work out how to get the pastel orange color that we want, so it kind of goes with the same color as the Be Quiet accent. And that's all we're going to do. It's as simple as that. Also is when we're going to be doing this, it would be more of a better idea to have a clear glass sort of viewing angle, so you can basically view what the kind of the color you're going in. But what I'm going to do, because you can make the color up in the bottle and then you've got everything made up and then you can pour it straight in there, I would do a minimum of 750 ml of coolant, so it's all in one bottle, and then you've got some as backup if you've got any leaks or anything like that, you still got the same colour. But all I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to pour the white coolant in there, and I'm going to use the drops into the top.
Are you holding on to my love when push comes to shove? If you leave, I'll fall. Are you holding on to my love? Are you holding on to my love when push comes to shove? If you leave, I'll fall.
So now all I'm going to do is carefully get the funnel out of the way, and I've got a bit of blue rag at the bottom there so I can just leave it to drain off and not stain anywhere. I mean, screw this up. I've filled the port up to there, and basically you're going to cycle on the power, and then the coolant's going to, if this is set up right, the coolant should run all the way down through here, pump straight out here into CPU water block, out of the CPU water block, into the radiator, out of the radiator, into the reservoir, which will be warm, and then cycle through to be cold and mixed again, and then filled straight into the pump. It does look pretty cool though, I do like the look of it. And yeah, just gonna keep pumping this around, and you're just gonna have to take your time. Normally what I would do in your situation is put the lid back on, and then once you've got the lid back on, then you can't really have any mistakes. So normally you would have a 24 pin and you would have nothing connected, like the graphics card and everything like that, but I've been doing this for years and stuff like that, so I know when to turn it off and how the procedure goes. But you normally have like a jumper that you put in a 24 pin and it will jump the power, and then you can just have the not the res, you can have just the water cooling that's on, and you just got power to that, and you wouldn't really have the memory. And it depends though, and however you're doing it and how much skill you've got. And also it just basically it pumps the coolant around, and then as soon as that goes down, then you turn it off. You never ever run a pump dry. If you run a pump dry and you fill everything up and then all of a sudden it stops working and you're hearing a really squeaky sound, you know you're not doing it right. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the computer, but it's not switched on at the mains. So when you've got the mains all turned on from the back, then you could just switch it on from the back there, and then you just power it and cycle it on and then turn it off, or you use a separate power supply and do it that way. So all I'm going to do, turn it on, and then I'm going to turn it off, and then that coolant is cycled around, as you can see, and all the bubbles, we'll talk about that in a moment. So now I'm going to just take off the top and just fill the coolant back up again. And you just got to be patient and keep doing this until it's filled up. this kind of sound that you're hearing, where it sounds like loads of splashes and everything like that, that's the air bubbles. It needs to filter through the pump, the radiator and the CPU water block to get all the bubbles out. And eventually, once it's been left for 24 hours, it all should be all fine with no leaks. And also just leave everything all like how you see it here with the paper towels to make sure if there's any leak, then it doesn't go all over your electrical components and ruin it. So that's all you need to do, and this is what it should look like at the moment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up slightly a little bit more to the top, so I got proper full amount of coolant in there, and then I can watch it as it goes after 24 hours. It should dissipate a little bit down, but then it still shows that there's water going through the actual system, so that's pretty cool. Next I'm going to be putting in Mayhems Orange Dye. So I've got some orange dye here, and the orange dye looks like blood, it really does, but at least we know it's strong dye. So what we're going to do is that we're going to just start to pour it in and have a look and see what it looks like. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the paper out. You don't do this, I'm doing this, and so you can see the colour change through the system. Right, don't know how I'm going to get into it. I could pull this out. That is 5 drops, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 drops. As you can see, it looks pretty awesome, right? Let's check it out. Even though that's nowhere near what we were going for there, let's have a look and see. Oh, that looks awesome. That looks crazy. So I would say probably another 10 drops, because it doesn't look orange, it looks like puke. So at the moment I've just had to change over, because that orange looks like it's got a bit of green in it, or yellow, or both, and this one's emerald green dye by Mayhem, so I can mix the same dyes. So I've got that dye here, and I've got a non-stain yellow dye as well, and then I've got one that doesn't say it's stainable or anything like that. So I'm just going to try yellow and see what we get. Don't bother. If you're trying to get the colour that you want, don't bother. No, I'm only joking. Basically, I've changed my mind. I didn't bother going with the inside of the accents. I've gone with the outside instead. And that's pretty close. Pretty close, but I can't put any more dye in there. So that's as close as it's going to get. And to be honest with you, I couldn't even tell you how many drops I actually put in there, because I just squirted it in until when I got what I needed. I put enough white coolant in there. I put 4 amount of bottles. Well, how much I put in there? I'd say about 2 bottles I put of this in, the white pastel coolant, and then I used a bit of green dye. I've used, that's actually yellow, so yellow, what's this one, non-stain yellow dye. I've used a little bit of deep red to bring up the brightness and make the contrast a little bit darker. Then I used orange dye because I thought I'd get that colour straight away. I was wrong. And I also used yellow dye as well, which is a non-stain one. And on camera, it's probably a little bit harder for you to see, but this looks a bit more orangey, but it's yellow. And this is the what is this one, a non-stain yellow dye, and it looks a bit more orangey, but it's actually yellow, non-stain one. And then this is the other yellow dye, which is non-stain, and it actually looks yellow. So I don't know, I think it's pretty awesome what I've got there. I think it looks good, and I hope that you're all proud of how your system looks now. Now I'm going to just take it upstairs and see if it posts and see if it works, and yeah, that'll be the end of the that will be the end of the tutorial. And if your system looks like this, then you've done really well. And if it does this, then it's great news. And if it doesn't, then just have a look at the cables, and maybe you plugged in the cables that connect from the front of the case and they're not plugged in properly, and that's what you need to do, and it'll kind of sort itself out. Well, I've got my software drivers are all on the actual SSD already. So once you see this screen, this is great news. But if you don't see the screen, it's because you haven't put Windows on or Linux. So there you go, it's there and it's cool. And let's check the temperature, what it's running at, because everyone likes to know about temperatures. So what do we got? We're running at around 39 to 40 degrees at the moment, which is okay idle. It's at 3.7 gigahertz. But anyway, the next tutorial is going to be about having your system like this and taking it to the next level. So that would be obviously installing Windows or Linux, and then overclocking your computer. Because we don't want to do things by halves. We want to get you out there doing other things. And yes, this is a gaming machine, and it is a workstation as well. So, and it looks pretty good. Well, I hope yours looks good. If you have done this video and tutorial and you followed it right through, I would like you to post me a picture so I can see it, and then I'll post it on Facebook, because I like to see everyone's build and how it's gone on and stuff. Maybe you've done things better than what I've done. But anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it and disliked it, I don't understand. Maybe because your computer ain't working, or maybe you just don't like me, but I don't know. And leave a comment down below and tell me if you've got any problems with your computer, or you want some help with something, I'll help you out with that. Follow me on all social media platforms. There will be loads of pictures of the different computers and everything. Links in the description down below where you can go and find me. No, find me or buy me. No, you can go down the bottom for the affiliate links to overclockers, Amazon and stuff like that, purchasing goodies and help the channel grow. And that's it from me, and I'll see you next one. Thanks for watching, and there'll be more tutorials coming.